Disclaimer: the following podcast contains material and language of a strong sexual nature that may not be suitable for minors. While not in every episode, this podcast may contain triggering subject matter that may be brought up without warning. Any information or advice given is for entertainment purposes only. We are not doctors. Please consult your physician with any medical questions or before making any decisions regarding your health. Listener discretion is strongly advised.
Hey, Sarah.
What's up, Seth?
They came back.
What?
I know. I mean, that first time may have been weird and awkward, like all first times, but we didn't suck, and they came back.
You know what, though? I'll be frank. There have been a couple times that the first time has sucked, and I've still gone back. So I think we really need to make sure to prove ourselves this time.
Oh, I think we do, but I think we got a great topic this time, don't you?
You know what? I'm super excited about this topic because this is something that this really gets me going. This is a big conversation piece for me. If you want to put me on a soapbox, this is the way to do it.
And I totally understand that because there's so many of these, and we're talking about today is sexual misconceptions, things that you always thought were true and may or may not have been.
Misconceptions and straight out lies, urban
Oh, yes,
legends,
so
things
many
that
of
you
them.
hear on the schoolyard, things your friends told you. Yeah.
So many of them.
Oh my gosh, so many, so many.
So I figured
Uh,
a good place to start anyway would be talking about something that is kind of near and dear to our hearts, and that is more of the kinky lifestyle. What do you think?
you know what? I think that is a perfect place to start because it's kind of a faux pas topic
Yes, it's
for
a
a lot
bit
of
still
people.
taboo, even though
Yeah.
many people enjoy it. It's still a bit taboo. But before we get into this, I really like to say these are all listener submitted questions via our Twitters, our Instagrams, our Facebook, and thank you all so much for helping make form this show this week. Round of applause
Yes.
for you
Thank
guys.
you
Thanks so
so much.
much.
Yay.
And I just love how open our listeners were to letting us use these and tell us these things. Some of these things are very personal.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And yeah, I mean, huge kudos to everyone who answered our questions and did it with just complete and total openness, just total candor. And
Hmm.
it's just great. I love it. It just made me so happy
So the
because that's what
first
this
thing,
show is about. That's what this is about.
exactly. So the first thing on the
Okay.
kinky train was from our
Yes.
listeners was that
Hmm.
this person thought that being kinky was necessary for people to like you and be into you. And that one surprised me a bit because I never thought that kinky was necessary. I like it now, but I never saw that. I'm sure some people do. And what are your thoughts?
You know, so I thought that one was really interesting. You actually brought that one to the table.
Hmm.
Because we kind of separately, did our own thing and kind of, found our own people to talk to and to get answers from. So you brought that one to the table. And when you did, I looked at that and I went, you know what? I never really thought about that as a misconception, but you're right. I mean, it's right. When I was really discovering myself and discovering my sexuality, that was a big thing. I really thought I had to be a sex kitten essentially. I had to be, fucking porn star quality to be, you know, to be liked, to be,
Yeah.
wanted in the bedroom. And that was, and that's not true.
And it's so much not for everyone. Some people like that. Some people could be totally happy with missionary for their entire lives, and that's
Oh,
wonderful.
absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. You have
Yeah,
to do what's good for you and what you
yeah.
like.
So I mean, where do you sit on the kink train? I mean, like, do you at this point now? Do you feel that you need more kink than you need normal, or is it just depends on the situation?
Honestly, it just depends on the situation and the way that I'm feeling because there are
Hmm.
some times where I'm just, as we discussed in episode 1, we work in healthcare. So there are times where I am exhausted and can't be bothered
Of
to
course, of
to get
course, of
in
course.
as involved as you are, as
Yeah,
you need to be when it comes to the kink, and I just want to fuck off and just lay back and get one. But
yeah.
other
If you
times, yeah,
can,
no,
if you can.
100%. Well, yeah, if I can.
So let's go ahead and move on now to your kinky question, your listener submitted misconception.
Um, well, so one of the folks that I asked, actually, it was kind of a two-parter. The
Hmm.
first part of it was that they were raised to believe that an interest in BDSM was abnormal, that, having any kind of an interest in it made you a freak, it kind of puts you off to the wayside. And I think that's something that is pretty prevalent. I
I would
mean,
think so because
yeah.
you still have people out there that are like protesting the local sex shops or leather
Oh
store
my
or other
gosh.
places. Yeah, it's like, come on.
Absolutely.
I mean, I know some people in very high level positions who are very much into the BDSM.
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah,
as long as
absolutely.
it's among consenting adults, who really cares?
Well,
But
and at the end of the day, that's all that matters.
I do agree with you though that the general perception of BDSM is super bad,
Yeah,
which is unfortunate.
it is. It's really, really sad. And it's um gosh, it's really one of those issues that the lack of education about it, the less we're talking about it and the less mainstream it is, the more misunderstood it is. And what you don't know scares you.
And like,
And that's exactly what's happening here.
there's some people who mistake BDSM for abuse,
Oh,
and like the other
absolutely.
way around. Like there's times that are abusive situations that people try and write it off as BDSM. Like I honestly think, and I'm might be alone here. The two characters in 50 Shades
I
started
was
out as an
just gonna
abusive relationship. It was not BDSM. That was abuse.
Okay,
But
okay, so there are papers, there have been
mm,
papers written about this, about how absolutely awful 50 Shades of Grey was as as an example of the BDSM community, and how much of an uproar the BDSM community was in when it came out, because they're like, "No. No, 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 please don't like, this is not how this works at
this is
all,
not
like,
us.
don't."
This is not us.
Yeah. Nope, nope, we're not with them. We're not with them.
I saw that
No.
movie and I was internally screaming the whole time. I'm watching like, no, 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 no.
I mean, it was hot. Like, I'd watch it again.
Eh, I have better websites for that. So, do you have anything to
Uh
add to the kink train before we move on to our next listener submitted topic?
well, I think just the other half of that one was
Hmm.
how deeply ingrained that is about BDSM being abnormal. The person who answered that question for me said that it even as late as college, they had a roommate who was experimenting with BDSM with his girlfriend, and even though this person had an interest in it themselves,
Hmm.
you know, looking at it from a societal standpoint, they were so concerned about how other people would perceive them and perceive their interest in BDSM. They had to pretend that, like, oh my gosh, like, no, that's so weird. Like, what are you doing? But then on the other side of it, be like, yeah, but I'm like so interested secretly.
I really want to try it, but no, I really can't say I want to.
Yeah, it's so sad. Like, and my heart goes out because
Yeah.
that's an awful way to be. That is an awful way to be. It's essentially like, I don't know, it's like being in the
It's
BDSM closet.
almost like self slut shaming. Like I feel bad that I have these particular feelings and kinks almost.
Kind of, I
That's
guess, yeah. A
unfortunate.
little
Yeah.
bit, yeah.
But yeah, I think your analogy is better about being in the BDSM closet, like some kind of self-loathing for feeling a certain way that you really can't control. Yeah, it is really
Well,
unfortunate.
and really the self-loathing isn't because you hate it about yourself, it's because of the way you
How
believe
yeah,
society is going to perceive you.
my mother would not approve of this.
Right, yeah, or what will my partner think,
Yeah.
or yeah,
So
and
our next
that's
topic,
that's
yeah,
sad.
yeah, our next topic is near and dear to my heart because I, I've said before I'm a fairly kinky guy. I do not engage in this. We're
You don't do
talking
butt
about
stuff.
I do not do butt stuff. We're talking about anal. And you know what? More power to those that do it. I'm really happy that you enjoy it. I'm just a bit of a clean freak and a germaphobe, and poo comes from there. So I'm gonna take a
Okay,
pass.
so I'm gonna before I even
Mm.
bring up I'm this y'all are gonna get a little bit of Sarah here, a little bit of me. I'm gonna open up. Um, I was 100% under the impression for a little bit, for a little while, when I finally let someone get me into the butt stuff, that I was just like, I don't understand how people are doing this and you never see poop. Like, what is wrong with me? What is wrong with my body that there's like that this is happening? And then I realized, well, no, because in the porn industry, which was the only example I had, they douche like 4 times, 3 times. I mean, they douche numerous times, anal douching. Or I'm sorry, not anal douching. What am I thinking of? Sad help.
Colonics?
That's the
Colonics?
no, not colonics. Is that
Or are you talking
colonics?
about, yeah, you talking about enemas?
Enemas.
Like a cleansing enema?
Yes, enema. Oh my gosh.
All
Uh,
right. But yeah,
somebody
this
take my license away.
this is terrible. But so the listener submitted question that I had on this topic was, I think, one
Yeah.
that is fairly prevalent, was that
Mhm.
anal was painful by default, and until they met someone that knew what they were doing, which is almost all things sexually, that that they were not into it until they found this person and like, oh, this is not. I like this. This is not bad.
Oh,
And I
it's
think I'm
100% you have to know how to do it.
yeah.
It's
I
not
think that
you don't just jump in.
I think most women and men that engage in it probably would say, yeah, I'm scared it's going to hurt, which I
Oh,
think would be the
and
big holdback for people.
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely, and it's there are definitely times where it doesn't feel great. You have to be you have to have the proper lubrication, you have
Yeah.
to be worked up, it's gotta,
So I have to
you
ask,
know
as a
Mhm.
man,
Yeah. Mhm.
I know why men that sleep with men do it because there is erogenous zones back there, and I know that there are a very small percent of women that do enjoy it. But I'm asking on a personal level, it's like, do you enjoy it? Has it ever, or is it something you do for your partner?
Um, it's kinda half and half.
Mm.
Physically, yes, I do enjoy it, but it's not so enjoyable that I would, like, do it by myself. Like, I
It's
wouldn't
not top of your
masturbate.
list.
Right, like, I wouldn't masturbate anally.
Anally. Okay, that's
Yeah.
fair. And now
So but I would absolutely do it for a partner.
I absolutely love the one that you managed to get. The listeners made a question on this topic. So you want to go ahead and read that for us? Because
Mhm.
this is one I'm sure is
Yes.
prevalent.
Oh my gosh, and I have heard this so many times, and it makes me sad. It really, really
Hmm.
it makes me sad. And I'm just gonna read this verbatim because this is
Hmm.
I copied this straight away. I had to think about, and this is in quotes, I had to think about this. One that was an interest, uh, one was that an interest in anal sex might mean that I was gay. Now, let's just unpack that a little bit.
Yeah.
Just so first off, I mean that would insinuate that homosexuality is a choice, which we know it's not.
Hmm. No, of course not.
Um, right. So that I mean, so basically that would insinuate that like if you choose not to have anal sex, that means that well, you're not gay. But if you were a straight man who chose to have anal sex, now suddenly you're gay. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah, I know plenty of hetero couples that engage in pegging, and they both are big fans. So.
Well, well, yeah, and that's not even like going the other way around. Like I'm just
Hmm.
talking about like a man,
Oh, I
like
know.
yeah, and now.
Yeah. One of the things I heard in college a lot and
Mhm.
in the medical field was, "Hey, it's only gay if you're catching." It's like, oh, come on, guys, that's the best we've got, really.
Right. Well, and that's where I was going because I've heard
Hmm.
this like that was coming from a man like giving anal sex to a woman.
Hmm.
Like that it's that level of even if I'm putting it in her butt, like that makes me gay.
I mean, that just makes no sense. What that hurts my brain.
It,
It
well,
really does.
it, it's sad. I mean, it's sad that that's out there. That those kind of feelings, that those kind of thoughts were out there. And fortunately, they were very short-lived for this person who now enjoys a very full sex life and you know, has I assume lots of butt sex. I don't know if that's something that they want to be doing.
Yeah.
Um and if they have the opportunity. And if you're listening, which I hope that you are, kudos to you and all the butt sex if you want
Enjoy.
it.
So we've talked about some misconceptions about sex with partners and everything of that. So might as well jump on probably some of our first sexual experiences, masturbation, and the
Doing
misconceptions
it
that come
on
along
your
with that.
own
Yes, which is by
or
itself going
with
to
a
be a
partner. I
whole,
mean,
yeah, this is going
yeah.
to be a whole episode unto itself later.
Yeah.
But this is just
Mhm.
the misconceptions about masturbation right now.
Yes.
Yeah, so this one I had actually never heard before. That constant masturbation can make a man's penis larger. That is something I did not hear until a listener submitted it. I'm like, what?
I hadn't heard that either, but I had heard and I actually I did a little bit of looking up, just kind of seeing, googling, just seeing what else was out there, comparing it to some of the things that we had gotten from our listeners. And it's actually not I saw it in a couple of places. Constant masturbation can make a man's penis longer, not so much
Hmm.
larger, but longer.
Hmm.
And I think the idea is that being constantly engorged, so constantly hard, um, it just kind of, I don't know, stretches and gets
Let
like
me tell you how
stuck.
painful it would
I don't
be
know.
to be constantly aroused. That's not a pleasant experience. Yeah.
No. Have you ever had to drain the blood out of one?
Not yet, thankfully.
It's
Mm.
amazing.
All right, so let's go to your first listener submitted topic on this because that's enough about that one. Yikes.
So actually my favorite was actually from a close friend of mine, a personal friend of mine, um, which I thought was fantastic because I got the same thing, but from a female point of view, and it never
Hmm.
occurred to me that men would have the same issue, I suppose, but they had no clue about ejaculation until the first time it happened. So they knew up until that point that, my pee pee gets hard, I touch it, it feels
Hmm.
good. Uh, got his first porn mag from a buddy, started touching his pee pee, and all of a sudden, boof, there's semen, and he, yeah,
This yeah,
freaked
this
out. Had
one
had no clue what that
this
was
yeah,
about.
this one I actually knew about because I had almost the same situation. I had no idea what
Thank
ejaculation
you.
was.
Oh my
Now,
gosh, the things I'm learning.
so I'm gonna tell you. So this is gonna kill almost my favorite part of the masturbation episode, but I'm gonna tell you my first masturbatory experience. And
No, no, no spoilers.
well, it has to be said here because it's just too good and it fits so well into
Oh,
this.
okay,
So
fine, fine.
I did not actually traditionally jerk off when I first started masturbating. That was in almost a year of masturbation without doing that act because someone told me about it.
Okay.
What I was doing was we had in my childhood home we had a large bathtub with jets, like jacuzzi jets,
Okay,
and
I know where this is
I would
going.
I would lay in that bathtub and I would just like let the jet water run over my I wouldn't like insert myself because I was big enough that I couldn't do that. But I would let the water run over my penis and it felt really good. And then
Sure.
like all of a sudden I just had the most epiphany moment of my life. Like, oh my God. I started like almost having a seizure. And that was the first time I ever
Okay.
climaxed.
Oh my
And then
god.
I get out of the water and there is just this like stuff in the water. And I'm like, what is that? That's
That's amazing.
eh. But I did that for over a year until I knew what actual masturbation was.
Nice.
There's times I'd like to go back and visit that tub again because it's some great memories. But oh well, that house is gone.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
So you want me to read the next one, or do you want to go ahead and do that one?
No, I'm still just trying to envision how you had to contort yourself to get your penis into a water jet in
I
a
just laid there,
bathtub.
just
Like,
laid
on
there.
your
That's all.
side? Like, I'm trying to figure out, like, how
I
it would
laid
even work.
because the jets were everywhere, so I just laid on my
Okay.
back and let it run over, and that's all it. That's all it took.
Nice. I wish it was that easy.
Well, I'm told some of you guys use the water spigot. Put yourself up there and use that. So that could be true. I don't know.
Oh, no, it's 100% true, but you know what? See, that's, like, too hard because if you're doing it in a
Mm,
bathtub, that requires 2 things. That first off requires you to get your ass in the air, So then your legs get cold because then your legs are, like, up out of
Oh,
the tub. 2, then your, like, head is in the bathtub, which means that you have to have no water in the tub, which means the rest of you gets cold.
oh, see,
So
that's
it's way easier just to make sure that you have an extra long hose on your detachable shower head.
there you go. See, you guys just have it so much harder than we do. You know, I
Late detachable shower heads, way to fucking go. You can buy, like, the 6-foot cords. You don't have to stick with the 3-foot that they come with. I promise.
I have an 8.5 foot one. I'm just saying.
Yeah, that's what she said.
Giggity. All right. So the final listener submitted question on this one,
Mhm.
like so many things, going back to their church days.
Yeah, so I knew that you were gonna jump right on this one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so many problems with religion that I have, and the I guess pox it puts on sex and feeling good. So that they state, I can remember masturbating and after lying in bed pleading with God to forgive me. The next time I would do it all over again. I remember scrambling and looking through the Bible for the word masturbation and trying to find out if it was really a sin or not. I'd look on the internet as well, but I could never find a definite answer. I struggled with this till I was about 27 or 28 years old. That sucks. And you know what? I know that a lot of people have this problem.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I
And
I
you can,
know grown adults, I mean, 27, 28 years old, I mean, absolutely, that's a grown adult. I mean, adults that are married in healthy relationships with healthy sex lives who still feel guilt about masturbating.
I just don't get
Like
it.
like somehow it's cheating on their partner or
Because there's
I
people
don't
that will
know.
tell you that. There are some
Yeah, no,
hardcore
that is true.
evangelicals
That is
will
true.
tell you that if you so much as lust after someone, you're cheating on your spouse.
Ugh.
It's like, yeah. Can you tell that? Can you guys tell that Sarah and I are not real religious?
Oh, no, 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 no. Speak for yourself.
Uh huh.
I just like sex and think that religion needs to stay out of the bedroom. God needs to stay
uh,
out of my pants. Like, here's the thing: Jesus said, "Love everybody." Like, love, just fucking love. Like, love
literally
people.
love everybody. Just everybody gets some.
All right, let's blasphemer. Skip into virginity since we're talking about Jesus.
Superstar.
All right, so one of I love the topic of virginity because it is still so fucking misunderstood and so gone over and it's infuriating how many not just misconceptions but outright lies and falsehoods are still spread like gospel, and if you try to educate people and if you try to tell people, this is not how the human body works, this is not how we're made. Like, I realize that this is what you were told and how you were taught, but you were taught wrong. That's not like physically, like, cut open a cadaver, look at it. That's not how
Hmm.
we're built. And they still want to argue with you because that's how they were taught. That's how they were told. That's how their parents were told. And it's, ugh. Mm. So, guys, girls, everyone in between, you can be a virgin and not have an intact hymen.
We touched on this
I'm
briefly on our first episode, so yes,
I'm gonna say it again for the ones in the back.
absolutely.
You cannot have a cherry and still be a virgin. It is possible.
Can I tell you how much I
Thank you.
hate that term cherry? It's so crude.
It is crude. It is.
But yeah, I mean, like you
I'm
said,
sorry.
it was kickball that you were playing when you busted your hymen.
Kickball. Yep.
Kickball, and I've known people that like in working out in the gym on that machine where you like spread your knees apart. You know that one I'm talking about.
Mm. Oh yeah.
That
Mhm.
that did it for
Any of
people.
them?
Like you said, it's not made of steel.
Right.
It could
Right.
easily break.
Well, and
But
it's not just that, but we're talking about, I mean, not only being active, but then we're talking about tampons.
Yes.
And then you also have to start talking about what constitutes virginity. Are we talking about penis and vagina? Are we talking about masturbation?
So let's talk
Because
about
if
that. The conception always was growing up that PIV was virginity. I knew women that engaged only in oral and anal because they didn't want to not be a virgin in quotes. But in my opinion,
correct. Yeah.
if you're engaging in sexual activity regularly with one or more people, even if it's not PIV, it's still sex.
And I'm going to have to agree with you on that. I think it doesn't have to be because here's my reasoning behind that. And some people may disagree with me. And my reasoning behind it is you have couples, you have lesbian couples,
Hmm.
you have homosexual couples, you have couples that are in transgender relationships. You have couples that in all types of relationships where there is no penis and vagina. It may be dildo and vagina. There may be no vagina at all.
Hmm.
Does that mean they're not having sex?
And those couples would tell you they're having sex, and they would be correct, in my opinion.
Exactly.
There are people that would disagree with me, and that's fine. Everyone has their own opinion, but it is what it is.
But their opinion is wrong.
I won't say that. I say it's their opinion. I think it's
Okay.
wrong.
All right. All right. All right.
So one I loved on here, and I'm sure there's so many people that think this, and you touched on it a little bit earlier, was that a tampon could take your virginity. Like, I'm sorry, but if just putting something in the birthing canal does not mean you're no longer a virgin. you know?
Well, exactly. And then that goes back to masturbation. So
Hmm.
if you are, if you're touching yourself, if you orgasm by stimulating your clitoris, are you a virgin? If you insert a dildo into your vagina and rupture your hymen, are you a virgin?
I think if you're flying solo, I'd still call you a virgin. Yeah, if someone's
I
doing
would
it with
100
you.
mm, I would 100% call you a virgin if you're doing it solo. I believe virginity requires another person.
Uh, okay, I totally agree with you on that. That's
Yeah.
100%. Oh, look, I'm stealing your catchphrase. So I think this one is what really is people's hangups with virginity is that the first time is supposed to be super painful.
Well, we
And
talked about mine, and it
yes,
wasn't.
we talked about mine, and she said it wasn't, but there was a lot of blood, so I don't know. So she could have just been trying to make me feel better. But
Or she was hemorrhaging. I don't know, I'm
yeah,
still
true.
not sure about how much blood there was there.
Like
That
I would
can
honestly, I would say it was like a super heavy period amount of blood.
see,
It
and
was,
that is not a ruptured hymen. Like, a
mm,
ruptured hymen is a small amount of blood.
yeah.
I mean, we're
There was.
talking drops, so she
Oh, I
may
know.
have actually been on a period.
I don't think she would have been at the pool if she had been on a period, but I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah, that's not how that works.
I mean, I know plenty of women that choose not to go swimming.
It's never stopped me.
Oh, well, there you go. See, misconception
Also
solved.
also water pressure.
Hmm. There you
Water
go.
pressure. Yeah.
Hmm.
I mean, I don't actually know if it's true. I think it was Dr. Ruth back in the 90s maybe talked about that it was totally safe to go swimming on your period because water pressure would like stop the blood flow.
I've seen the other side of that, though. I've seen women that have gone swimming before, young women, and it just there was a small
Pour-
amount of.
Pouring out of them.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say it was excessive. It was again a few drops, but people are like, "Oh my god," which is unfortunate because it's just a period. It's come on,
It's blood.
yeah,
That's like, I don't know, that's like diva cups. Here's another here's another here's another soapbox. If you're
yes.
still using tampons, if you're still using maxi pads, just stop.
I said I know plenty of my female friends that love the cups.
Oh my gosh, the cup is and then there are versions of cups. It doesn't have to be the Diva cup and it doesn't have to be a cup. There are other I don't
Yeah,
know how
there's the
exactly they work. They're kind of like the disc
yeah,
and
the
they're sort of
dimensional disc.
soft.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they're all amazing and they're reusable and they're sanitary and they're better for your body and it's just and we need to get over as a society this idea that putting our hands inside of our bodies is bad or wrong or gross, and touching our own
Mm.
blood is wrong or gross. We need to get over it
All
because
right. So I'm gonna let you handle this one
anyway.
because it's more about church stuff.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm going on a tangent now. All right.
Hmm.
Yes, so more church stuff. So this right, yeah, it's still about virginity. It's the idea that it's not sex unless you're married. That was the only way you could really have sex was when you were married. That was the right and proper way to do it.
Everything else was fornicating.
Well, yeah, I mean everything else is illegitimate.
And I think that fewer people think that now than did in our parents and grandparents' time, but it's
I
still
do agree
totally
with
out
that.
there. It's still totally out there.
Agreed.
Uh,
Agreed.
all right, so we're gonna put a bow on that because virginity is such a touchy subject. Moving on to our next misconception topic: the result of some sex, pregnancy. All the misconceptions with pregnancy,
And since
and
we were
this,
just talking about periods,
yeah, this one I have heard my entire life, and everyone I've ever known at some point asked me this as a medical professional or going up and like asked a teacher in school, and it was that women on their periods cannot get pregnant. And I hate that this is so prevalent, that this is so ingrained in our society because it's fucking wrong.
yes, it is not true. You okay, brief anatomy lesson. First off, sperm is a living organism. I mean, not an organism, it's a cell. But anyway,
Mhm,
I digress. Sperm live for days, like 5 days. They can live inside of a woman's body if the conditions are right, or inside of a person's body if the conditions are right. Sperm can live. So a person might be on their period on the last day, and a period is just the shedding of the lining of the uterus.
mhm,
So it could be residual blood flow. So the actual hormonal cycle could be over, and the body could be priming for another egg drop, which typically happens approximately 14 days from the onset of the period. But not every person's body is the same, which is something we discussed in the first episode.
mhm.
Some folks' cycles are shorter than others. So if you're having sex with someone whose cycle is closer to 11 or 12 days and they're at the end of their cycle, so we'll say 12 days, they start and you start counting. So they have, we'll say, a 5 day cycle. So now they're on day 5, and they still have some residual blood flow, and you think, okay, well, they're still bleeding. It's safe to have sex. You have sex. That sperm's still going to live for 5 days. So,
Yeah,
you know, egg drop is kind of approximate. The sperm just has to be alive when it happens. So, there's every possibility that a woman or a person could get pregnant if they are on their period when you have sex. It just
fair.
is. So we have to stop propagating that myth because it's not true, and then people are getting pregnant and being surprised by it. And young people in particular are getting pregnant and being surprised by it because they think that they're playing the system. Well, it's safe. We can have sex because she's pregnant or because
I'm
she's
just
on her
on a
period.
period.
Yeah. And it's just not true.
Yeah, it's a mess as these things quite often are. So you want to go ahead and get our next listener submitted one out of the way?
Oh yeah. These were some of my favorite, the various ways that you could prevent pregnancy, outside of having sex during a period. These were some of my favorite. I'm just gonna run through that list if that's okay. Is that
Yeah,
good
go
still?
ahead.
Can just run
Yeah.
through that? Okay. So I'm just gonna list them out here real fast. So peeing in a woman's vagina after sex acts as a spermicide.
See,
It
I had
does
not heard that
not.
one.
I
I
hadn't
had heard,
either. It just
I had
go
heard
ahead.
Coca-Cola, like a Coca-Cola douche immediately after. I'd heard that one before.
Well, somebody else mentioned a Mountain Dew.
Oh.
Drinking Mountain Dew after sex will stop you from getting pregnant, as well as pouring bleach on yourself.
That is rather dangerous, I would think.
Um, that douching, using a feminine douche, or a liberal wash after sex can wash out the sperm. None of those are accurate.
No.
Some of them are very dangerous.
Yes.
The best way to avoid getting pregnant is to wear a fucking condom
Okay, but let's talk about that. Not only if
or
I mean,
do it in the butt.
condoms are great, but let's not forget birth control or any of
All
those
right.
things.
Well, I don't know. I don't. Mm.
Because condoms are not 100% effective. So if you have the
Neither
condom birth,
neither is
if you
birth
have,
control.
if you have the condom birth control combo, you know.
That is true. I don't know. I'm kind of a stick. I don't know. I have
But yeah,
mixed feelings about birth control.
well, it does cause serious problems in some women, which is unfortunate. I've known people who have had serious life altering problems, had to have major surgery because they had an adverse reaction to prolonged use of birth control.
Right.
And, and it's like
It has its benefits. It does
it
have its
does
benefits, but it's
regulation and whatnot.
some of its regulation. It's not. I don't know. Again, I have a lot of issues, and we could have an entire episode about that.
Uh,
Yeah. So, don't do those things. Definitely
no,
don't put bleach on your vagina. That's not. You're gonna wind
no,
up with chemical burns.
yes.
It's just
This, yeah,
not. It's not good. Don't do that.
of course not. This one I especially liked because it was amazing to me that a woman could be this naive about pregnancy and stuff. But this listener says that their girlfriend believes you couldn't get pregnant while breastfeeding, and they were the one that told them otherwise. It's like, wow,
Well,
that.
so there is actually some truth to that.
Hmm. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So, oh, uh, so I have a nursing instructor somewhere who's going to be really upset with me because I don't recall the exact science behind it. But, um, yeah. So when you are breastfeeding, and it's not 100%, it's like 50 or 60% effective. It is not as easy to get pregnant, and many women don't have a period while they are breastfeeding because their body
Hmm.
they just don't ovulate while they're breastfeeding.
Interesting.
So, it's possible to get pregnant while you breastfeed. Um, it's not that it's not possible, it is possible. It's just not I guess for some people it's not as easy, but I
Hmm.
could see how that could definitely easily be a myth.
So I love this one because it ties into our earlier discussion about me and how I used to, pleasure myself. That being in a hot tub after a guy climaxes can get you pregnant. It's like,
Yes.
okay, first of all, the chemicals in the water of most commercial hot tubs. My personal hot tub was just a bath; it filled with water every time. But most ones you'll find in hotels and stuff like that, that's such chemical treated water, it would kill sperm
Oh,
for one,
100%.
and two,
Well, and the
sperm is
heat,
yeah,
actually.
sperm is not a sentient thing. The sperm are, but the semen is that it can't like swim itself and find the vagina.
Right, they're not like little fishes, like little
Hmm.
heat-seeking missiles looking for a vagina. Um, and yeah, they're very sensitive to heat, which
Hmm.
is an interesting fact if anyone really wants to get into it. I love balls. Like, I love the scrotum. I it's,
Okay.
no, it's absolutely fascinating. So Mother Nature is just God, we're beautiful, disgusting creatures. This the way no, okay, so like everyone jokes that when a man gets cold, like, your balls tuck up into your body. Well, there's a reason for that because
Yes.
your semen,
Preservation of the
your
sperm.
right, your sperm has to stay like it's very particular about its temperature control.
Okay.
So it can't be as warm as the internal temperature of the body. That's too warm, which is why it has to hang outside of the body.
Yeah. What do you think about going on to the next thing? And this is something that I'm sure men and women think about all the time. especially young men, and it's penis size because everyone wants to talk about it. And we had so many listeners, so many questions that are such common things. And one that I thought was great, and that I'm sure you could have an opinion on from one of my listeners submitted questions, was that women would love him because he had a giant member. So go ahead. I mean, if you went into bed with someone and you saw a Pringles can, how would you feel? Like, oh no, or would you be like, yes?
So I think once upon a time I would have been
Mhm,
like, fuck yeah, like this is gonna rock. And I've
mhm,
I've been there. I've 100% been there. But as I've gotten older and more experienced, no, it's like 50-50. Well, it's like 60-40. Like 60% is size, 40% is experience and
mhm.
skill because it's, and if God, if you're good with your mouth and your hands, it could easily be like the other way, 40-60. Then it really doesn't matter what your dick looks like. I, I'm not gonna lie.
Well, that's another thing. Let's talk about that misconception. Is that women just want, you know, penis and vagina sex? I'm like, I'm sorry, but uh, number of women that can get off that way is a lot smaller than most guys think.
Well, and I think I
Mm,
even said it in the last
mhm,
episode when it comes to penis and vagina sex, as far as the in and out goes for many women, and again, every body is different,
mhm.
but for many women, that is really just us letting you masturbate with our vaginas.
Fair.
I mean, it's not doing a whole lot unless you're hitting our G spot, which sometimes
But you got
takes more
to.
positioning than some of
Yeah.
us can manage.
So let's talk about probably the biggest urban legend about penises and stuff is that black dudes are just by default bigger. And yeah,
I've heard that my entire life,
me
and I
too.
think that that's a hugely prevalent myth, and honestly, I have no idea how much truth is in that.
I know this is really bad. I am very good friends with several black people. Imagine that, because we're all humans. But there's something about guys, all right, and this is going to be some guys talk here. And guys, don't kick me out of the club for knowing this. If you're friends with the guy long enough, you're going to see his dick. It's just the way it is,
I think that's normal. I
either
mean,
by
if a
accident
woman is
or
friends with a girl long enough, we're gonna touch each other's boobs. I mean,
yeah.
that's
So almost all of my black friends, I've seen their penises, and it's ranged from okay, then it's not true to oh my god, it is true.
no, but hang on,
Yeah.
Seth. But have you
Yes.
seen them hard?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, then never mind.
Because I've walked in on. I was roommates with a friend one time, and I walked in on him and his now wife doing some things, and I'm like, Jesus Christ! So it was rather interesting. So were you ready to move on from penises?
I think I need more information on that one. I'll be frank.
Okay, what do you want to know?
No, I mean just in general. Like I would
Oh,
love.
you would love to
Don't
have
send me Don't send me pictures of your penises, but I
no,
would love to
please don't.
hear, like, if anybody has it, and I could probably Google it. I'm sure somebody has done a study, but if anyone has any actual evidence, scientific evidence that there is any sort of connection between race and penis size, I I don't know. I think that that would be very interesting, but I can't imagine. Like, I don't know. I don't know if it's true or not.
All right, so relationships. Are you ready?
Oh God. Okay.
So relationships. This one I think is very prevalent, and I applaud this guy for saying this because he says that when he was younger, he thought that having a girlfriend entitled him to sex. I would never take it without being allowed to have it, but if I didn't get it, I would be pissed off. Now, thankfully, I moved on from that position. I look back at my younger days and I go, what a moron you were. And I think a lot of younger men, especially, and maybe some women, think that having a partner just means you get to have sex. Do you agree?
Oh, I think that that's a hugely prevalent misconception, and I think one that tends to lend itself to abuse in relationships.
Mm. So, and this ties into that a little bit, in that someone said that they thought that being married would mean having more sex, and that's again a case by case thing. Some married couples have sex all the time up until they're old and gray. Some people it does taper off. Some people just don't have sex in a married relationship, and I don't know if that's their choice or not, but whatever. But I think that there was a conception out there that being married just guaranteed you sex as well. right?
See, I think the idea of having more sex because you're married,
Hmm.
at least once upon a time, lent back more to the idea that you're sleeping in the same bed with somebody, you're coming home to somebody every day. You're not living in two separate households. Where you might have before. And nowadays, a lot of people cohabitate before they ever get married. So that's really a non issue. So I don't know how that would still be, so prevalent that people would think that they're going to have more sex once they're married.
All right, so here we are now. We're at the end. Ready for a little lightning round, random miscellaneous questions that we're going to go through? Are you ready?
Go, go.
Women do not bleed and pee all out of the same hole. Sure, what I guys
What?
think that? That's weird. I mean, do you think men think that? Have you had men think that with you in the past? Have they been surprised that it's all not one factory down there?
I've had women be surprised to
Really?
find out. Oh,
Wow.
yeah. Yeah, no, I've had women be surprised to find out that the urethra and the vagina are not the same hole. And I've
All
had
right.
people be surprised that the urethra, vagina, and the anus are not the same hole.
See, guys, it's all the same thing. Everything comes out the same, the port. So it's whatever it is. Too much sex makes the vagina loose. I hate this one because the vagina is made to push a baby out and spring back to approximately the same size. Your
The
dick is
vagina
not
is
going
like a
to do that.
rubber band.
So let's get out of the theory that loose women are sexually permissive. Like the reason that they have the floppy vagina in quotes is from all the sex. No, it's not. Shut the fuck up. You're wrong.
Agreed.
The bigger the shoe, complete bullshit.
Agreed. Agreed. No, it has
Older
nothing to do with it. There is nothing. Yeah.
older folks don't have sex. I certainly hope not
Wrong.
because I want to bone until I'm 90, but that's just me.
Actually, here's a little fun kernel of information for you. So
Mhm.
STDs are an issue in long-term care, i.e. nursing
And
homes.
I love it. I absolutely love it. So I actually reached out to all of my friends of color on this one in that black guys do not like oral sex performed on a woman. They don't like doing it. And they
Yeah, that
all were
one really surprised me.
yeah, they were all like, no, we love it. So I don't know if it's a stigma out there
Yeah,
because
I don't
like
know. That was the first time I'd ever heard that one.
I asked 12 different people of color and they all said, no, that's bullshit. And I'd never heard that one before, but hey, the listener submitted this, so it's what it is. So this is actually mine. This was my misconception. This is one I submitted, is that I believe that all women would enjoy the same things because, for the most part, a penis is a penis is a penis. Not necessarily blanket true, but it feels good to one, it's going to feel good to most. Now, for women, what feels good to one may not feel good to them, may not feel good to anyone else. You guys are
True.
much more of solo creatures in that way to find out what feels good for just you. And
Oh,
that's in my
absolutely.
experience anyway.
Oh, absolutely. But a lot of that comes down to the woman to have
Yeah.
figured out herself, I think.
Yeah. So the next one we got is sexuality and sexual attraction are a constant. I've known people who,
Wrong.
yes, I've known people in my life who at one point in their life would identify as gay, but now identify as heterosexual. And it wasn't a phase. They genuinely were attracted to the same sex for a long time, but then it shifted and they've decided, well, I kind of want to be with the opposite sex now. And the same with sexual attraction. You could be madly in love with someone and 5 years down the road just not want to sleep with them anymore. You could still love them. Just like I just don't feel the same sexual drive with you anymore. So thoughts on that?
Um, so I'm not going to pretend that I'm an expert on this subject because I'm
Yes.
not. I am on the bisexuality spectrum, but I'm
Hmm.
more heteroflexible than
So
anything.
would you call yourself like 70-30 straight or more like 60-40?
Um, I'd say more 70-30 straight. Well, no,
That's
I don't know.
fair.
I think I'd go 60-40. I think I'd go 60-40. Like I prefer men, but like with the right woman, I would be absolutely happy. Like I
Well,
like the
there you go.
peen, but it's not the
Some
most
some
important thing.
some women have a great peen. Just saying.
But that is absolutely true. Absolutely. Um and honestly for me it's about the person. It's about the person,
Yeah.
not what's in their pants. I mean, at the end of the day, I like boobs. So, I mean,
And
that's
yeah.
always a plus, but
Our
No,
our
it's
final one tonight that I really, really I hate this. This is something that pisses me off. Is that you are gay or straight? Bisexuality is greedy and attention seeking. Fuck off with that. I've heard this a lot.
so yeah, I got told that when I was a teenager,
Yeah.
when I
Was
came
this
out.
was this your submission?
That was my that yeah, that was mine. That was my
There we
submission.
go.
Mhm.
And it's so terrible because you could love a person, not necessarily genitalia. There's nothing wrong with
Yeah.
that. You know.
So my mother had a friend who was gay,
Mm-hmm.
and when I came out to her and I said, "I Mom, I like girls." She said, "No, you don't. You like boys. You've always liked boys." And I said, "Yeah, but there's this one girl that I really, really like, and we kissed, and I liked it." And this was years before Kelly Clarkson, whatever her name is, Katy Perry. Katy Perry was a thing.
They
Um,
kissed a girl. Yeah.
kissed a girl, and she said,
Apparently she liked it.
"No." She did. She liked it, and she said, "No, you know, you're not bisexual. Um, you're gay or you're straight. Bisexual isn't a thing." And I said, "But I like boys, but I like this girl, so I'm something." And she said, "Well, you're not gay because I have gaydar and you're not gay, so you need to get over it."
Uh, so
So I went,
before we
"Okay,
yeah.
cool."
So before we put the final bow on this, do you want to go ahead and throw out the submissions for the next topic that we're covering? Thank you guys so much again for being so helpful
Yes.
with
Oh my
all
gosh,
of
thank you
these.
so much. Thank you, thank you,
But
thank you.
what we're looking for next time on the next episode is breakup
Bad breakups.
stories. Not just
Yes,
bad
bad
breakups.
breakups,
Yeah,
good breakups,
funny
all of it.
breakups,
Funny breakups.
disastrous breakups.
Oh gosh,
We
yes.
want,
All of
yeah,
it. We want to know.
we want to hear your breakup stories. If you could send those to us via our Instagram or our Twitter, they're both at In the Sack Pod. You can send it to our Facebook. Just search In the Sack with Seth and Sarah on Facebook, or to our email, Seth and Sarah Podcast at gmail.com. Or just, smoke signals, whatever you want to do. And whatever, we get them, we'll say them. But I think it's a pretty good place to wrap it up. But before we get out of here, as always, many, many, many thank yous to our wonderful producer, Franklin, as always.
Thank you,
And
Franklin.
thank you, Franklin. And to Bradley Arl for our amazing theme music that's going to sweep the nation one day.
Thanks, Brad.
So please join us next time in the Sack.
With Seth and Sarah.